Hello, I'm Tricia and I'm half of Rebranding Retirement. Sean has had to go back to our home in West Yorkshire to sort our car out because we are currently on a house sit in Suffolk, and before we came down we had problems with our car and we decided to hire a car to get to the house sit, because when you're house sitting you can't let people down. And then we decided it was a good idea while we're here, because we're here for nearly 2 weeks, that he return home and get the car fixed. I guess hindsight's a wonderful thing, and I could have hired the car and come down on my own, but that's what we decided to do. So he's travelling back as we speak. So our car's all sorted again, which is brilliant, because as wonderful as it is to be in the home and the house sit, it's such a beautiful part of the country that we're in Levington in Suffolk, that it would be a real shame not to explore some of the local area. Retirement is a strange thing, and for me, that word retirement was actually something, and retired, saying I was retired, I really struggled with that, because we took our retirement in 2015 when I was 55 and Sean was 56. And I have to say, we didn't really have a plan. We very much threw everything up in the air and decided just to go for it. The background to that is something that he and I still joke about, because his version is slightly different to mine. But Sean had stated when I met him in 2008 that he wanted to retire from a job which he found high pressure as a construction site manager. And with all the implementation of lots and lots of crazy over-the-top health and safety, he decided he'd had enough and just wanted to get his girls through university, and then that was it. He was going to find a little job and potter around. And I think really the subtext to that was he just wanted to get rid of the pressure. He hadn't really thought much beyond that. My reaction was like, well, I want to go travelling, so what are we going to do? I also said, you might not be with me if you don't go travelling, but he refutes that. So moving forward, I really struggled to say I was retired, because I was only 55, and I found it quite strange, because what we did, we decided we would rent out our homes, and because we'd met fairly recently, we had one each, and go travelling. And we were in a very fortunate position because we both worked all our lives, and we're in that position that we could do that. So we rented out our homes and went travelling. However, we still tried to budget, and not having any sight of any pensions coming in, that was what we did, and that was how we financed our travelling. Now, we thought we'd do it for about a year, and we put all our belongings in a container, which was Sean's brilliant idea. We actually bought the container, popped it on the side of the house, and put all our worldly goods in it, including a TV, which again, with hindsight, was kind of a crazy thing to do, because electronics stored in a container aren't necessarily in the best conditions. But that's what we did. And we thought after a year we would sort it all out, empty it out, and start to declutter. However, 4.5 years later, having travelled quite extensively, but maybe not even as far as we would have done now, we decided it was time to put some roots down. So in that 4.5 years, what we did was actually move around the world, and we spent quite a lot of time in Western Australia. We still haven't seen Uluru, and we still haven't been to Queensland and the top part of the Northern Territories in Australia, but we have spent some wonderful months house sitting and travelling around Western Australia. Speaking to friends of friends, we found trusted house sitters, and we decided to join and took some house sits locally and long weekends, and then we added on a couple of days from our annual leave from our existing jobs and took longer house sits on to see if we liked it, to see if we thought that this was a viable way for us to travel the world. And it worked out really well. And we've actually been members for most of the time from 2014 onwards, with well over 60 5-star reviews. So I'm very proud of that. We house sat really for 4.5 years, and we went from Greece to Western Australia over to New Zealand, and we had some wonderful house sits, and we are still house sitting. Obviously, world events have changed things, family responsibilities and calling us back to the UK has also impacted on our retirement. What I particularly want to talk to today is about that word retirement. I really struggled with the word retirement. I didn't feel old enough to be retired because I was only 55. So what we did to mark our retirement in June 2015 was to rent a property in Crete, which has always been one of my favourite Greek islands. And I introduced Sean to it the year before, and that's where we decided to go for 3 months. And when we got there, we were pinching ourselves with excitement. We'd actually done it. And when I think back to it now, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. It was so exciting. And then from there, we had a rough plan that we were going to go back to Western Australia. And that's really what we did for the next couple of years. We flitted between Crete and Perth area of Western Australia. And also we took some cruises from Western Australia around the world. So it took us further afield. With regard to the house sitting, we did some house sits in Australia and over to New Zealand. And it was absolutely a fabulous time. And that's one of the messages I'd really like to get through to anyone that's actually retired. I read this thing today that said, when you realise that it's not one more day, but actually one less day, it really makes you value what you're focusing on in those years after you stop working and start thinking about other things. Now, Sean and I both worked all our adult lives. Sean became an apprentice joiner when he was 15, straight out of school. And I became a secretary after sixth form. Neither of us went to university, but we both, through life, found our way in excellent jobs, which gave us the opportunity to pay our mortgages in a timely fashion. And with a couple of strokes of luck along the way, for example, I was made redundant, and I took that redundancy and ploughed it into my mortgage to get it paid off as quickly as possible. Now, some people don't think that that's a good idea to do, but for me, it just gave me peace of mind that my house was paid for and I would always have somewhere to come back to. This June 2026, we will be coming up for 11 years of retired living, and I cannot believe how fast that time has gone. I always say everybody has a book in them, and believe you me, there's an awful lot of chapters in that time and leading up to our retirement. I've just about got used to saying I'm retired, and hence the name Rebranding Retirement. We've retired, but we're not tired, not just yet. When I was in sales, one of the ways we described people who took to things slowly was slow adopters. And I think I've been quite a slow adopter in coming around to social media, but I'm giving it a good go now. So if you'd like to follow our travels while I catch up on everything that's been going on and everything that's planned, please subscribe and follow us on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. Thanks for joining me. Take good care. Have a lovely sunny day. It's beautiful out there now. All for now. Bye-bye.